girl?
I'm upset.
Not as upset as that wig. What's going on with that wig?
Girl, this little half wig moment on my head. She does not want to behave.
You know what, girl? She doesn't need to behave.
She doesn't need to behave. It's really rainy out, so I feel like there's this is like a humidity realness. This humidity eleganza.
Yes. I love it.
How you doing, girl? Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, girl. What you drinking?
Scotch. Do you know why I'm drinking scotch?
Tell me everything.
Because we have a Don't Say Gay bill in Ohio. That's why.
Girl, welcome to Florida.
The water's fine. You know, Brooke, the universe was just like, don't miss Brooke too much. You're going to have the same challenges up in Ohio that she got down in Florida.
So let me tell you something. Wouldn't it be funny if I just put this cup to the side and drank from this?
Yes, yeah.
That's for when it passes.
Oh my God.
Here's the thing. I have been arguing with right-wing trolls on my social media about Don't Say Gay now for like a week straight. And because I did a post for when DeSantis signed it. And the most ridiculous thing about it is the people that are like, well, I don't want my third graders knowing about. And I'm like, no, you know what? No one is like talking about gay sex in second grade classrooms. This is a nothing burger. You know, I started thinking about, and this is going to be really depressing, and it's only 7:03, and I think I'm crushing it.
Bring it on.
This goes back, like, I don't want to be talking about dirty gay sex with my kid, right? That shit. That goes back to the AIDS epidemic.
That goes back is old. It's very
dirty gay sex. I heard one time in a focus group with Equality Ohio, shouts Equality Ohio, doing the work, donate to them, give them your time, because they are doing it. They are having the tough conversations. I heard in a focus group once before marriage equality, that a guy was like, well, that's fine if they want to get married, but I don't want them having sex on the desks. And I'm like, where is this coming? And I'm like, do you think we're having sex on desk? Like, it's this dirty, filthy, like, narrative that's like back, and it keeps coming back, and like, we cannot kill it. And it's just so convenient, and it just fits and molds into so many different terrible things. And I'm like, I don't understand how they keep getting duped by the same bullshit that isn't true.
Well, they don't want to listen. I feel like, the legislators who are putting these bills forward and supporting these bills, they're just trying to prove their hate cred to their voters, right? And the way that political rhetoric works, especially on the right, is building up these straw people. Gender neutral. These we don't say straw men on this channel. We say straw people. And
we also could say straw man just because they're mostly men. But anyways, we'll keep going. Fair. Actually, no, the person who introduced it in Ohio was a woman.
But the straw people are us.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So we are the straw people. Well, we're not the straw people. The straw people are about us, right? It's like these trans people who are going to attack women in the bathrooms, and gay people that are trying to teach sex to 3-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like, this stuff doesn't actually exist.
Who has the time in this economy? I'm working too hard.
I've got stuff to do. I got debt to pay off. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to go to the 5th grade class and teach them about sex. I'm just like, hey, if you're going through some stuff, like, you have options to feel okay about yourself. Like, you have a possibility model to survive.
That's literally it. You have a possibility model to survive. It. Like, it's not like you have to be. It's not like you're going to be. And kids are kids. They're going to come home and be like, I'm gay. And the next day they're going to be like, I'm a tree. Like, they're kids.
Yeah.
They didn't get that
from the team tree.
Also, yeah, team tree. They didn't get them from, like, this is the thing. And I think Dan Savage said it, and I know a bunch of other people have said it, but, like, they're trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Like, they're trying to change school into a place that isn't going to be completely against everything they have on their phones, in the culture, in media. Gay and trans people are more and more everywhere now.
Yeah.
We're everywhere now. And we're like, we have the Modern Family gays, right? And we have Pose, right? Like, there's a range now.
There's a range. Yeah.
You can be a boring gay white man in the suburbs with an adopted child and a picket fence, or you can be MJ Rodriguez in Pose. You can be whatever you want, right? Like, there's a range. Now, the way media works, we see so many options. Kids see that. Nothing the 3rd grade teacher says is going to put that back in the bottle.
No, and I feel like a lot of times it doesn't even sound like they're listening to teachers who are having the experience of talking to kids and hearing them self-identify, right? Because this is not someone going out and converting children. This was always happening. Like, I was the pink Power Ranger for Halloween in kindergarten. And then I got laughed at and I went in the closet until my 20s, right? Like, this happens. Spoiler alert, this happens. You know what I mean? We've been here. We've been around.
We've been here. We've been around. And like, how many people, even especially growing up, like I disclosed to my teacher before I disclosed to my family, like I was in Catholic school. I wasn't about to tell my fucking family. Like, it's just so, it's so absurd. But I will tell you, Democrats in Ohio, watch, because our committees in Florida did a lot of testimony, and the people who were for these bills, the quotes from their testimony run ads against them. The shit they say is crayfish. One of the representatives in Miami was like, well, being gay is a temporary condition. You know what I mean? Like, and then run ads against them, primary them if you're a Republican. I don't give a shit. If you're a Republican, you're probably not watching this, but maybe you are. Welcome. Talk to your people. Because this shit they're gonna say, the justification for this bill is pure hate and ignorance, and they are gonna have to say it.
Yeah. I don't understand why in this moment that it's suddenly now trans people. But listen, like, gay people are next. There's someone in Chillicothe.
Well, they are. Don't say gay is next. This is it.
Yeah, this is it. So this is connected. And there's absolutely a racial justice component to this, because there's a racial justice component to everything. So,
well, right.
So my thing right now is that we all need to band together and fight this, because basically we need to show up for each other's protests. You know what I mean? Which is a soapbox I will always stand on. But and
I think like every place that has tried to pass one of these don't say gay bills has also had an anti-critical race theory bill.
Yes.
And if you didn't stand against that, you can't be like, oh my God, but don't say gay. No, if you did not stand against one of those anti-CRT bills, then you really don't have a leg to stand on, because those were the test bills for the don't say gay bills. And the anti-trans bills from bathrooms were the test for the anti-trans sports bills. And like, this is all connected. And this is how they win. They win by separating us and putting us into these little tiny bills, right?
Yeah.
They're not just saying you can't teach all of these things in one bill, because then the faction against it would be too strong. They're picking us off like antelope.
Like antelope on the gazelles.
And there's some anti-trans bills too in Ohio, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
that's why it's Scotch night. That's why it's a Scotch night,
girl. It's a Scotch night because we got a lot of them. You should go on the legislation tracker on, what is that website? It's like freedomforall.org. Anyway, there's a legislation tracker across different states. And it's if you really want a depressing time, go and look at it and see all the stuff that's across the U.S. right now. There are there's over 200 anti-LGBT bills being considered, and then there's like 127 that are specifically anti-trans. In Ohio, we've got a CRT bill that is 327, and then we've got a ban on trans kids playing sports, which is 434. And then the 616, I believe, was the Don't Say Gay bill that was like just introduced yesterday, I want to say. It was very recently.
Well, and we knew this was coming.
It's here. And this guy in Chillicothe, this high school substitute teacher, was fired for handing out a rainbow bracelet to a group of students because they said it was too political. For handing out a rubber rainbow bracelet. That's where we're at.
To high school students.
Yes, to high school students.
This is where it's like, okay, like, and people are like, oh, like kids don't need to hear about sexuality and gender identity. First of all, they're already talking about it. Little babies wear onesies that say like, I'm going to be a lady killer. Like, so don't even try it. Like a ladies' man with like a picture of their mom's boobs.
Oh,
very
God.
strange.
Or like dad poked me in the head when I was in, like, gross stuff. You know what I mean? Disgusting. Straight people are crazy.
Straight people are crazy. That's the one that you take away from the dish. But the thing about the Florida bill, which is coming, by the way, so I'm giving you a heads up. If take a look at the text of the bill, obviously it's going to go through multiple amendments and changes. But in Florida, the Easter egg which I think I'm using that term right in gaming. So let me know if I'm using it right. The Easter egg of this bill, the Easter egg of hate, so the Easter egg filled with terribleness, is they've passed with this. It's under the guise of parental rights, and it says parents must know about any change to a child's mental health condition, which I think they're setting up to bring in trans stuff and say, if a child discloses to you that they're trans or a young adult in school, the teachers and counselors are obligated to tell the parents, otherwise it's child abuse. That's where I think this is going. So even in the anti-gay bill, they are planting the seeds for more transphobia.
Yes, because...
So watch the bill for the Easter eggs, because it's a long game.
Yeah. You did use that term 100% correctly. So.
Oh my God, did I? I feel like I should take a bow.
Yeah, bravo you. I mean, Easter eggs, if you don't know, is like a developer secret that's put into a game that is like sort of outside the normal bounds of... So it's like it's either something you can find in the normal course of the game, or sometimes you have to like use special codes or something to get outside of the boundaries of the game to find the developer Easter eggs. But yes, it's basically a secret.
In this case, going outside of the codes is reading the bill. And the best way to find...
Yes.
And the best way to really figure out the intention of the bill, to be honest, it's tedious, but read the proposed amendments too. Because then you can kind of see what the special interests want. They won't pass, right? But like they'll have to introduce them so they can get their money. So like,
right.
It's very fascinating. Even, it's like, oh, well, that didn't pass. So what? So what?
Yeah.
They tried to get it, you know what I mean? Understand what the movements are in your small region around it, because I guarantee, there's going to be some weird special interest group introducing something, right? But the 28th, 30th time they push it, it'll pass.
Yeah. And by the way, obligating teachers and school districts to let parents know, that's literally one of the reasons that FERPA exists for higher education. Because you don't know if students are in a bad home situation. So disclosing certain things to parents would make them unsafe. So that's why we shouldn't do that. Girl, let's just segue right into conflict. That is what we're here to actually talk about tonight, although I feel like it's all interconnected.
Fight them.
Fight them. And you know what, girl?
I will say,
when I go to a fight, the first thing I like to do is just take my wig off. That's right, we have a wig reveal tonight, ladies and gentlemen. First thing you gotta do is you gotta get ready to throw down. And if that means taking your wig off, then that's what it means.
Girl, I'm gonna take my earrings off. Solidarity.
Oh, girl. And that's gay rights. And that's gay rights right there.
You can't have big hoops and a fight. So there we go.
Also, bring a sensible brush. Because when you take your wig off, you're gonna need to do a little reset.
Oh my God. Girl, I love that.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
She is breathless. She is gorgeous.
Not bad for 3 kids.
Not bad for having 3 kids. So.
All right.
Conflict. I think a great way. So I was socialized female and I am white. So for me, I've been socialized to be very anti-conflict. And I have really worked very hard to unravel some of that. But one of the ways I've unraveled that, is calling my legislators. I'm not joking. If you call your legislators, even if you agree with what they're saying and you want to thank them, you almost need to, if you're not comfortable with conflict with partners and loved ones, get better at it with other people. Like, you can do that. You can call your legislator and leave a message and say, I don't agree with this bill. And they'll be like, oh, okay. And just even that, I'm serious. That has helped me my time working, as an intern at Equality Ohio, having to call people in the Stone Ages, by the way, before marriage equality was legal, was a really powerful thing, because I was raised to just bury any conflict and like figure it out. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not blaming anyone in my family. This is just how I was socialized in the culture and the community. But it really has been tough to unravel. And frankly, I'm getting better at it with partners, but I am still bad at it in social situations.
Yeah. Same, by the way, because I am also a Midwestern WASP. That's like...
Well, yeah, the Midwest is an addition to the... I wasn't in the Midwest. Y'all are like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it comes to conflict, girl, I am a woman who has no time for regret, remorse, or recrimination. What does that mean, Brooke? I'm glad you asked. what I mean is when conflict happens, mama, I'm get the fuck out, right? Like I'm a hermit crab. I can't handle it. And I'm getting better. I'm getting better at
a little hermit crab.
Right, because I think I used to be like, oh, I can't handle conflict because I didn't have a lot of conflict growing up. And now I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually not a good thing. Like running away is not a good thing. And also
right.
it is what leads to complicity. You know, it's like I'm complicit with this situation. Oh, I can't deal with this. I'm just going to pull myself out. And it's like, well, yeah, there is a difference between pulling yourself out of a situation because of personal safety and pulling yourself out because you don't want to deal with it.
Right.
And that, I think, is kind of irresponsible. Because I'm not saying I'm an expert with conversations about social justice, racial justice, LGBTQ issues, but what it means to be an ally to me, you know, people say a lot like, well, what can I do? What can I do to help? And it's like, you have to have difficult conversations with people in your personal network. And when you feel like you can't bring something up, chances are that's when you need to bring it up.
Love you.
Like, use that as your weather vane, right? Oh, I'm feeling uncomfortable about bringing this up. Then do it. Yeah. That's probably the moment. I don't care if it's Thanksgiving, right?
Right.
Because you're only going to see these people once a year. When are you going to do it after this? An email? Like, no one's going to pay attention to that.
I think that's really interesting because I do think in my personal relationships, my intimate relationships in my 20s, like I would push stuff off. And I'd be like, well, this isn't a good time. I have something coming up. This isn't a good time. She has something coming up. This isn't a good time. This is happening. And it's like, I think the joy of kind of growing up and doing that work is like, there's never a good time. There's never a good time. Let me release you. There's never a fucking good time for conflict, right? So whatever the thing is like, okay, like, let's, you know what I mean? And I'm still not great at it, but like, I also am the kind of person, I balance that with an impulsivity. So I do like to sit on things because I'm like, hey, is this the right decision? So what looks like a grudge is actually me just processing and making sure I'm making the right choice because I am a delayed processor when it comes to conflict. So like we could get in a fight and like 2 days later I'd be like, you want to talk about it? And you're over there like, bitch, is this a fucking, are you making me wait? Are you punishing me? I'm like, no, I'm processing because I want to make sure what I bring up is worth it. I want to make sure what I bring up isn't my own personal baggage, but is actually something we can discuss. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. You know that expression, leave it in the drafts?
No.
I love that. So like when I get mad, like viscerally, immediately, urgently mad.
I haven't seen you mad in so long.
Yeah, I'm like fairly chill usually. But there's a few things that are related to like if someone tries to come for someone I care about, then I get really spicy.
Oh my God, I love what you get spicy.
Spicy.
Yes.
Spicy dish. Or if I feel like someone is manipulation. If I feel like someone is trying to manipulate me and like pull one over on me or like the whole what's the word I'm looking for? Shenanigans. Let's just call it shenanigans.
No, I think
manipulation. It's like I don't really feel like this is being put forward in good faith, and if I think that someone's doing it on purpose, that makes me mad.
Yeah.
But anyway, so if I get really mad, I will write something out and then like not send it, and that's the leaving it in the drafts. You write it out, you read it, you're like, okay, this is what I really want to say right now.
Right.
And then you save it, or at least you process it, because you're like, okay, I want to remember these feelings in the moment, but I don't need to send this right now because it's probably not productive.
Yeah.
It's not going to help.
I think it really...
For me, it doesn't even feel good. I think for some people to vent that immediately feels good. For me, I don't think it's going to feel good.
You know, I think that's actually really interesting because what I like about that is you write it all out, but I really love to write it all out and then pull like, I'm such a weirdo. I'm like top 3 things or 2 things. Like, I think you also have to understand the humanity that you're dealing with, and people are really, we're overwhelmed right now. I think more than ever. So like, if I'm going to bring something to you to have the discussion, I'm not going to be like, I'm almost going to triage my own list and be like, all right, what is urgent to move this relationship forward? And I don't know, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I shouldn't do that because I'm like, then I miss out on some things. But sometimes things don't feel as big later.
I'm curious about I'm curious about the perception of urgency, because something might feel urgent to you, but something else feels urgent to someone else. So like what's an example of one of those urgent items?
Oh my God. Okay, girl. So spoiler alert, dating me. I have a trigger, which is my outfits, my clothes. Had a partner who was extremely controlling about what I wear.
Oh, I hate that.
Still processing through that. And I own that that's mine. Like, I'm like, hey, this is mine. This is my bag. I'm taking it with me. It's my bag. My carry-on luggage, is this. So like, I was with someone and my ex was like, it was freezing in Ohio. It was freezing. Okay.
So yesterday.
And it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was meeting out you, I'm sure, because I was wearing practically nothing.
Who's surprised?
But Kels
going out to meet me, wearing nothing.
The prop game tonight is unreal. Get in the chat, readers. Get in the
so
chat.
many props. We've got a drink. We've got a brush. We've got a fan. There's so much.
Yes, so much. A wig, everything. So I guess you'd call it a wiglet. Anyways.
That's cute. I like that.
Kill the mothers. So, what was I saying? Oh, okay. So I'm leaving the house and I'm in like a mini skirt and fishnets and little boots because I'm me. But then like I have on like a short winter coat and hat, like, so I'm warm, you know what I mean? But my fucking bare legs are out and it's like 20 degrees.
Yeah.
And they made the mistake of being like, are you sure you want to wear that? And I was like, how dare you?
You better not try me on this evening.
I'm sorry, I'm not a descendant of the Mayflower.
I
am wearing it. Like, actually, they were a descendant of the Mayflower. And they're like, it's 20 degrees. So, like, I'm right. You know what I mean? So that's a moment
there's a better way to say that.
Oh, 100%. 10 out of 10. What is one way you could say that would be better?
I mean, okay, so this might be controversial. I'm okay with this. But what if they said, are you going to get cold? I'm worried that you're going to get cold. Do you want to just take like a layer with you for over top?
Oh, see? Every time I think we can't work out. That would be the perfect thing to say.
There you go. Because it's like, I share that, in fact, Brooke. If someone was like, are you sure you want to go out of the house wearing that? I would be like, yes, because I picked it out of my closet and put it on my body.
Anyways, so that urgency is like twofold, right? I really want to address it because I want to nip it in the bud. Like that is something I don't want it to keep happening, because I will be like, I will leave the house in a string bikini in 20-degree weather because I'm me. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with my shoulders, but here we are. So the urgency usually comes from like, oh, this is a thing, how I dress, how I present myself I hold that very close to me.
Yeah.
And I realize that it's something that maybe is a little eccentric and weird. Like I'm in bright red lipstick and whatever. The thing is, if it's too sexual for you, we can have a separate conversation about what's going on there. Right. I'm happy to have that conversation, but I'm not going to change.
You know what?
Right?
I will say that this is just for me. I'm happy to have that conversation, but it's going to be a short conversation.
Yeah, no. I mean,
if you're uncomfortable, I'm sorry. If just one more second on this, if you're uncomfortable that what I'm wearing is too sexual, then that sounds like a personal problem. That's all.
That should have been the name of this podcast. That sounds like a personal problem.
Sounds like a personal problem.
I
mean, I also do burlesque, so I get naked on stage. So like,
well, no, but I reminded that partner of something very clear, which is like how this goes to something bigger, which is how did I dress when we met? Like, what attracted you to me? And I'm a firm believer that when you give up the things that make you in a partnership, you're not going to be successful. So for me, dressing the way I want to dress, right, is a very important thing for me. Also, that's how you met me. Also, that's part of why you were attracted to me.
Yeah.
So in your attempt to control what I wear, it's actually going to boomerang because you're going to be less attracted to me because I am not going to feel as confident because I have one less tool in my toolbox on confidence. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. And then you look back, you're like, oh, we didn't work out. Well, you know, she dressed like this. And it's like, well, was that the reason? Right. And I think it's just like, ask yourself, obviously over time, like, you know, people change and I love change. And, you know, I'm always appropriating. Yeah. I always like to say, like, you know, obviously I hate when people are like, well, are you done transitioning? You know, when it comes to transgender people.
Yeah.
And I hate that, or non-binary folks. And I'm like, I also think that's so myopic. We're all transitioning. We're all changing. You know what I mean? Look at me taking the word, look at me appropriating, but you know what I mean? Like, just, we're all evolving. But as I think back to the things that make me in the beginning of a partnership, I dress however the fuck I want. You know what I mean? So why would I lose that? You know what I mean? That's not going to serve us in the long run. What I do believe in is a travel blanket. Just put it in the back of your car, put it over your legs as you travel.
Oh, you know what? I don't have a blanket in my car, but I do have a pillow. And it serves many different functions. If I have to stay overnight somewhere unexpectedly, I have something to sleep on. I use it on my lower back because I'm an old now and I have lower back problems.
Oh my God, I love this. I have lower back problems too. Why have we not talked about this sooner? You have a car pillow?
A car pillow gets you some lumbar support. It's great. And if it's not firm enough, just fold that bitch in half.
Fold that bitch in half. Girl.
Which is what I said to my last Tinder date. No, I'm just fold this.
I picture you with a pillow in the passenger seat with fake eyelashes and lipstick, and like you driving, you're like, oh girl.
Close. The pillow also has fake eyelashes on.
Love it. Love that for you.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah, what is your advice to getting more comfortable with conflict in intimate relationships?
I'm gonna take a page out of my therapy journal and just like, you know about the concept of catastrophizing?
No.
Okay. So catastrophizing is this mental psychological thing that we do that a lot of people do. I don't know if everyone does.
Oh,
it.
Okay.
But
like
you're
a parade
like
of terribles.
Exactly. It's like a downward spiral. So first this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, then I'm going to lose my job, I'm going to be in the street, and then I'm going to die, right? Like it's layers of terrible in your head that are absolutely not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So for me, what I have to do is, because I wasn't used to conflict when I was growing up, the prospect of conflict feels like the threat of physical violence, which is very scary to me. So what I had to ask myself is like, what's the worst that's realistically going to happen here? And it's not that we're not going to come to blows on this unless it's and hey, girl, like, we are not here to talk about, there are actual situations where your physical safety is threatened, but I'm talking about
right.
Arguments over putting the dishes away. Even up to arguments about cheating or boundary crossing.
Yeah.
What's the worst that's going to happen? Like, you have to bring it up, because the alternative is you're just going to hold on to it for a long time, and there's going to be an explosion down the road. And then it's like, why didn't we just talk about this months ago?
Right. Absolutely. And I love that you said, like, it feels violent. The threat of conflict feels violent, because I think that's very real for a lot of folks who aren't comfortable with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, there's the whole experience of trauma, and once you've had trauma, dealing with a trigger of trauma in the context of conflict resolution, and you know what? I don't think that I am knowledgeable enough on that topic to have an informed opinion.
I also like
conflict
resolution.
I would table that one for the dish. I would put that dish on another table.
I like conflict revolution.
Tell me about that, Queen.
I don't know. You just said it instead of resolution, and then you corrected yourself, but I like conflict revolution.
That's going to be the name of our retreat.
Yes. Let me tell you about a personal problem, and then conflict revolution. Yeah. Girl, so closing thoughts on the dish, besides calling your legislature, besides wearing whatever the fuck you want. I think we have to absolutely thank everybody who attended our in-person shows in Columbus, Ohio last week. Oh my shit.
They were so good. Thank you so much to everyone who came out. thank you to all of the sponsors and supporters, particularly for That's Not My Name, which was the Trans Ohio Name Change fundraiser. So especially Trans Ohio, we love you. We're here for you. We know you're here for us. And there were a lot of artists that just donated work for our raffles, which was amazing.
Beautiful work.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful work.
AJ, the Vanderelli room is like a second home. Like,
yes.
I think I posted about that on Facebook, but it was like, that's something I've said to people before. And I heard different people tell me that throughout the night. Like, the Vanderelli room is great. It's like a second home. Like, yes, it absolutely is.
And, you know, I just feel like everyone who I just personally, like, coming back to Ohio, you never know. You know, I don't know who's going to show. Like, I don't have, you know, a ton of friends. All my friends are producers or in the show. So for the record, I had very few people in the audience. But it was so warming at the Vanderelli room to see so many people I didn't know. It felt so good to see the community rally.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that. I did. I just, it really warmed my heart. And thank you everyone who I knew who came out to cover Dish Live at District West. And That's Not My Name at Vanderelli room. It was also just very comforting, right? Because so many times in our communities, especially when there's layers of marginalization because of race and gender identity and everything, it feels like communities are always kind of like pooling together. So like Black and queer trans folks are just kind of like, all right, we'll just pool our resources. And it's like, yeah, but you know what would be cool? A white cis person showing up and throwing in money, right? Like, to get different levels of pooling resources. And there were so many trans and LGBTQ allies Saturday night. There were so many white folks who just showed out and like showed up and donated and bought the tickets and bought the drinks and did all the donate. You know what I mean? Like, there's power, by the way, of having a certain, you know, group of people in the room. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. When it comes to access to resources, this is what we need.
Yeah.
We need white cis people like me and other white cis people showing up, showing out, giving more than they think they can, because I guarantee you can give more than others. So it was just a really powerful night for me for that.
Yeah.
Girl, and Cover Dish was a blast at District West, girl.
I was going to say, girl, let's do it again sometime. Oh.
I love that.
What a beautiful night. And you know, there's going to be more of those in the future. We're going to hang out. We're going to party. But don't miss us too much, because you can come back every Tuesday at 7 p.m. for Cover Dish, which is streamed live on Facebook and YouTube. So, on that note,
don't
Brooke,
miss it.
I think
Love
it's
you,
time,
queers.
I think it's time for us to go. So, until next time, bye, y'all. Take care.